Well, hello. So, this is my Printing 101 course, and you are watching this video because I'm inviting you to be a beta tester of the course. And really, what that means is the course is mostly done, but there are some pieces that I'm still building out, and I'm looking for feedback. I'm going to go into all of those details and more inside this video. This is really to give you an overview of what's included in the course, to answer any of the questions that I've been hearing coming up, and actually go in and show you what does the course look like. So the first thing that I just want to touch on before we get into all of the nitty-gritty is printing itself and the idea of printing. And I know I can wax lyrical on things for a long time, so I will do my best to be concise here. Printing itself is one of the best ways to grow as a photographer. It challenges you in many ways, not only the actual process of printing, which is very technical in a lot of ways, but it takes the level of attention that you give to your work and puts it up so much higher. It will improve how you go out and shoot because you know the work that you're going to have to do to put into the image to then get it to print and look good. And when you've printed an image and you see it in a different way and you interact with it in a different way, that is something that takes your photography and it makes it better. The other bit with printing, it's just so nice to actually have prints and to see your work off of like these things or even a screen, well, you might be watching me on here right now, who knows? So that's the other bit to it. Printing is kind of like our gift out to the world, whether it's to ourselves or whether it's to someone else. I heard this metaphor and I love it. It's the idea that a photograph that is not printed is like a screenplay that's never been performed. It is unrealized to the fullest potential that it could have. So that's why I'm really excited that you're here. Printing for me is the end goal for everything that I do. It is the, as Aristotle would say, the final form, because I want my images to be out in the world. I want them to be enjoyed. And one of the things, you might be having stuff coming up, and this is something we talk about in the course in depth, so I'm not going to get into it here, but you might be coming up with like, but Kristine, who am I to be actually printing my work is not good enough yet, all of those kinds of things. I want to tell you, my house is full of prints of work that I did years ago, night photography work that I did years ago, and it's not the best, but it is still representative of where I was then, and it is still something I enjoy looking at. So printing doesn't have to be, you don't have to have like the perfect thing to move forward. You will get there. And, well, frankly, maybe we'll never get there. And that's part of the process because we're always evolving and changing and learning. And the fact that you're here and you're interested in printing means that you're coming along on that next step in your journey. So I'm really grateful to have you here. So nitty gritty, let's get into what this course is about. This course is for anyone who wants to print anything on photographic paper and have it look good, be consistent, and last for a really long time. Now, because you know me, I do focus on night photography specifically, and the examples when I go through running through prints and doing prints, I'm looking at night photography, but this will apply to all photography. So if you have lots of photos that you want printed, but maybe only a couple of your night photos that you're ready to print, it will still be applicable. This course also is applicable for anyone who is printing at home or in a lab somewhere. So printing offsite with someone else. We run through the fundamentals that you need to understand before you ever get to the nitty-gritty of printing. And then we run through when you are working with a photography lab, this is exactly how. These are the questions you ask, etc. And then when you're printing at home, this is exactly how. We run through absolutely all of that. So what I want to do here is take us and bring us into the course so that you can actually see, here's what the course looks like. So it is broken up. There are 10 modules and then a resources file and a photography print labs. In here, in each of these modules, there are going to be a number of lessons. The idea is for you to go chronologically through. However, there will be some things that might not be relevant based on the type of printing you want to do, or based on your own level of knowledge. You might not need to go into the hardware section on monitors. You might not need to go into the hardware section on printers. It all depends. So we start out with our intro. And in here, this is going to give you a really strong overview on what is included inside the course, how to use the course, and very important, two very important, the lessons on permanence, which is where we get into, what a great thumbnail. Thanks for that course platform, where we get into the idea of how can we have our images last for as long as possible. And there is a beta update in here as well. So this will go through and will tell you, here are the things I am currently working on. And also, if you have any specific things that you want, here's how you can go ahead and submit that to our team. Then this might possibly be the most important module of the course. This is really the first pillar when it comes to printing, and this is color and calibration. Printing is an active translation. Printing is taking something that exists in the real world, translating it to our camera, then translating it to our monitor, then translating it to our printer. And along each step of the way, if you played that telephone game when you were a kid, at each step of the way there might be something lost in translation. This is our way to measure what is being translated and to mitigate those losses. So that, in telephone where it's like Sarah starts out by saying, my friend Betsy rode in a red convertible to the Apple store. And then at the end, it's like, my friend Sarah ate a yellow apple. And it's like, well, no, that's not right. So we want to get that line, that translation that happens through every step of the way in this process. We want to understand it, measure it, control it. That's what this section is all about. You're going to see things here as well, like hardware calibration. So I will literally walk you through. Here is how we calibrate. Again, let's see how many really good thumbnails we can get of me with all of these videos. So we go through step by step. Actually, here it is. Here's how we calibrate. We're going to talk monitors. So if you are looking at purchasing a monitor, every single thing you need to know about purchasing a monitor is here. We're going to talk printers. So here in this module, this is mostly for people who want to print at home, but it is also useful because it has a lot of useful information in terms of how printers work. If you're going to be working with a lab, you need to understand this as well because labs have different types of printers. So this will be very important for everyone to go through. Then, like my favorite one, selecting your paper. There's so many papers. Like I could just pull out of my bookcase over here, like tons and tons of different kinds of papers. So this is one of those spots where it's like, yes, let's get into talking about all the different types of papers. This is one that will be growing. So all of these brands that you see here, I will be doing more tests and things like that. So that's part of the beta. I am going to get to be doing a lot more printing and sharing my results with you here. Then we get into print size. How can we actually, what is our actual print size? How to figure out what print size to use, what aspect ratio to use, and how to choose a print size. And then the actual printing process. This is a high-level printing process. So here are the steps that we go through. And then these steps are applied to printing at a lab versus printing at home. And so these two sections here, you will go through whichever one is specific to the type of printing you want to do. Then we have our print. What the heck do we do with it? Right. So now that we have our print, we have what do we do with it? Different ways to work with our print, things that we need to think about. The resources section will be built out more. So right now there's going to be perfecting your prints, but there are more ideas and things that I have for coming in here over time as we build it out. The other thing that I am in the process of doing as well is testing. This is something that will come with you as a beta tester. This is something that will be updated and evolved over the next couple months as it happens. I will be printing and going through the process with different labs and listing them out here. If there are labs that a lot of people like to use, I will add those in here and I will go through that printing process test with them so that I can give customized feedback based on the individual labs, and so that there's, when we're like, I need to get a print done, where should I print at? So that it's not like, I don't know, and you have to research all kinds of places. The idea is that you can come here. So I have a few for the US and for Canada. I have a couple for international, but I will be leaning on my friends across the pond to help me out with places that might be, they really love printing at. Lots of people love that I just don't know about because there is an ocean between us. So that's the actual course itself. So here we have the entirety of the course. For the most part, it is built out. There are small places where there are some things. If you come into, which one? Let me try and think. Like in here in the resources, you're going to see it says video here. That means that this is something that is on my plate to create and to put in here and become a part of the course for you. That will be built in over the next couple of months. Basically, by the end of the year, I would like to have everything 100% put together, aside from the things that will be ongoing, like trying out new papers in different printing places. Now, aside from that, there is a place for questions. There will not be, if you are familiar with me, if you've taken some of my past courses, there will not be a Facebook group for this course, and the course itself doesn't have live Q&As and calls attached to it, but there still will be questions that come up, and I want to make sure that you are supported. The way that we're going to do that is using a new feature from my course hosting platform called Communities. It's similar to Facebook, but it's not Facebook. And this community is where you'll go and ask your questions. So what you will see in here is on the left-hand side, there will be spaces. If you don't see it, you just gotta click it. Mine is in admin view, so some of the things that are here in my view will not be exactly the same in yours. But along the left-hand side here in these spaces, this is where you can go in and you can ask questions. So if you have questions about a specific printer, go into the hardware section and you can come in here and create a post and you can ask questions based off of that. Here under announcements, this is where any announcements will be placed. You will also be emailed about these announcements as well. But this is a place where you're going to be able to go in and see, like, what has Kristine updated lately, and come in here and take a look. And then this is specific for beta testers. So if there's something in the course, a typo, something weird in one of the videos, like sometimes I will yawn or cough and I think that I've edited it out and I haven't. It's always great. I get those emails. I'm like, oh, like, Kristine, you said the same thing twice in a row. I was like, oh, I thought I edited that. So those types of things, that's the reason why you as a beta tester are getting a discount on the course, because you're helping me get through all of those little bits in the start. So that exists here in the beta testers. You can post anything in there. This is also where, if there's something that you want in the course, of course it needs to be relevant to printing, and it's not in the course, this is where you can put suggestions as well. And I am more than happy to get suggestions, because here's the thing, I've been printing for 15 years. I've printed at the university that I was at, then that I worked at and taught at. I printed at the professional camera store that I worked at. I've printed in my corporate job. I've printed at home. I've sent things out. I've done a lot of printing. But the one thing that never ceases to happen is when I'm working with people, they come up with questions and I'm like, that is such a good question. Why didn't I think of that? Or I never thought of it from that perspective. That's the reason why I just love teaching. So please, 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 if there's anything and you're like, I wonder why Kristine hasn't put this in here, this would be useful for me, pop it in here and we'll see what we can do about bringing it into the course in some way, or potentially maybe it's in there somewhere and you haven't found it. So this is the place to have that type of information. Okay, so this is the community. The community is linked in the first lesson. This is where you have the community. I would recommend bookmarking it, just bookmarking this community so it's easier to get to. That's what I've done. So I can just click on it and go and get to it. And this will be when you purchase the course, you will get an email, and that email will also have the link to this community. So for purchasing the course, it's going to be kristinerosephotography.com/thrivecart.com/printing 101. In here, this is very, very important. There are 2 payment options. So you can do 1 payment, or you can do 3 payments. So the payment's broken up over 3 months. Now, there are coupons, and you need to go over here for the coupons, okay? So if you are doing the 1 payment option, see, this coupon code does not work. You need to do printing 1 time. So instead of 3 times, you do 1 time and apply, and you will see that discount. So there's a $100 discount off of the $347. Now you won't get, this is my sales tax being in Nova Scotia that's being applied. So it depends. If you're Canadian, this will switch up. If you're not Canadian, you won't have the sales tax applicable. So the price will be brought down $100. So in this case, brought down to $247. If you choose the 3 payments, this does not apply. So all of a sudden, you're still being charged that $127 a month. Make sure that you put in 3 times and apply. You're going to see that discount of the $32 coming off, giving you that discounted price. And again, you can see that there's the tax is being applied for me. So make sure that you use these discount codes here. These are specific only for beta testers. So these codes are not going to be valid after we close down the enrollment for beta testing. This is only for you because you are here and you are helping me out. So that's what we have. Thank you so much. Thank you a bajillion times over for being here with me and running through this. If you have any questions, please hit reply back to this email. Myself and my team would be happy to help you out. And I'm excited to have you and welcome you into the course and to get beta testing so that we can get tweaking and get this course to be the absolute perfect course for anyone who is ready to start printing.